Super.
Okay, so hey everybody, welcome to Steve Couper's podcast for aspiring real estate investors. In each episode, we connect with seasoned investors and industry subject matter experts. Um, and these people are eager to share their experiences and tips when we're investing in real estate. So today, I tell you, I'm super excited because for Steve Couper's podcast number 9, I have the profound pleasure of speaking with a wife, a mother, an investor with over 300 deals and over $100 million worth of real estate. She and her husband are seasoned investors who have weathered tremendous challenges and market cycles, such as the recession of 2008. They were heavily invested in Alberta, and as was the case for many investors, ended up learning some very expensive lessons. I'm hoping that she's going to help share those with us so we can learn from them as well. They moved to the Okanagan in 2012, and along with 5 amazing kids, yes, 5, all hers and his, and none of them are twins. So this is interesting. It's quite a challenge, I'm sure. They've succeeded in rebuilding another multi-million-dollar portfolio. My guest has also enjoyed success creating a real estate investment coaching program where she gets to work one-on-one with real estate investors from around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I am super excited to welcome the street smart diva, Julie Hoffman. Wow.
Hey, everybody. Wow.
There is so much there, and yet I'm sure that I've only just scratched the surface. Did I capture it all correctly, Julie?
Yeah, we've done 300 deals and over 100 million in real estate. We don't have 300 right now. In fact, I don't know if I could handle that.
Okay, good correction. Thank you for that. So before I dive into any questions, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, well, I actually grew up in the United States. Not a lot of people know that about me.
Oh, I got a secret.
Yeah, and I do talk about this a fair bit. I was raised by a real estate investor. So my dad was a real estate investor. And little did I know I was gonna, catch this bug. But one of the things that I remember fondly from my childhood is, my dad having the freedom to drop everything, which was often the case when I was in 7th grade with my cooking partner in cooking class, Dana Gorell. He'd drop everything and come and be our guest, which was half of our grade. And we always forgot. So the fact that he was able to pick me up from outdoor lab and he just was around, and I went to work with him often and yeah, I must have caught that bug. Now, that being said, my parents still wanted me to do what most parents have always wanted their kids to do, which is go to school, get good grades, so you can get a good education, so you can get a good job, all of which I did. I have a doctorate in physical therapy that I really only used for about 2 years before I went into real estate investing. Again, I'm from America. I met my husband in Mexico, who's Canadian. Through NAFTA, it was easier for me to come to Canada and work. And he was in a 3-generation family business. So he was very grounded in his business. He owned a home hardware.
Perfect. So, that's a great fit.
Sorry, that's a great what?
I think that would be a great fit for the real estate investor.
Yes, it certainly has been. He is so smart. We just recently have a big renovation on our hands in a property in Edmonton. And, he just takes the wheel when things like that have to happen. He knows what's up. He knows what things cost. So he's been such a treasure. Plus, on top of that, he's a terrific salesman and he's a good person and he's a great father. And he's just he and I are constantly working on ourselves and working with each other. So we're actually been married 25 years in October, which I'm pretty proud of.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. So I became a real estate investor because I had a baby. And prior to me having a baby, my husband got interested in real estate investing. Like I said, he was a home hardware dealer. And for anybody who knows a small town home hardware dealer, they work their butts off all year round because it's feast or famine. So the summertime, that's when everybody's building and renovating, and you know, you got to make hay when the sun shines, especially in you know, we were near Edmonton. And in the winter time, everything really slows down. So he had to constantly be hustling. So that was like having golden handcuffs. Very blessed to have this business that took such good care of us. Very blessed to have the knowledge that he has. But he wanted he wanted to invest in real estate. He met Arlen Dolan at his first event. And
Right.
Arlen said, I don't care what it takes, find a parental property. Because at the time, RAIN, the Real Estate Investment Network, was $100 a month. It was $200 a month. And Arlen said, and my husband said, that's a lot, $200 a month. And Arlen said, go out, buy a property, make sure it cash flows $200 a month, and that'll pay for your fees. And that's what we did.
There you go.
And so, like, before I even had a baby, we had 3 properties, mostly because my husband, who had no time to focus on real estate, I did as a physio. I could do things on my work breaks and on weekends. We bought 3 properties, and I'm just like, great. We have 3 properties. I had no problem with that. I bring up my dad because a lot of people have challenges with their spouses when it comes to real estate investing. You know, somebody's usually more nervous. Well, I'm lucky I wasn't nervous because my dad went through some challenging times. You talk about 2008. My dad had real estate in the 80s that you know, they changed tax laws, and he went through some stuff. So anyway, what's my point? We bought these properties, and I had a baby. I always thought I'd go back to work after my baby. I did, because I went to school forever. I told you I had a doctorate, you know, for crying out loud, as my mom would say. And but I took one look at her, just like every parent does, fell madly in love, and I wanted to spend every minute that I could with her, and I knew real estate would help us do that. So we just went crazy from there. And I never went back to physio. We've done real estate full time ever since.
Good for you.
Thanks.
That's absolutely a treasure. I think one of the biggest challenges we all face is figuring out how to be parents and work. And if you've managed to figure out how to be a stay-at-home mom with a job that actually allows you more time with your children, you've succeeded. You really have.
It's my greatest gift I can give to the world, is to raise good people. And real estate really did help me do that. And that is something I'm proud. My kids are good people. Yeah.
Excellent.
I mean,
High five.
thank you. Yeah. And you asked about that time management.
Well, let's get into some questions first. So let's talk
Yeah.
about lessons learned.
Lessons learned.
I want to go into lessons learned. I want to understand. So July 2008, price of oil peaked, and then it began to decline, right? And Alberta's economy soon followed suit, and unemployment went doubling within a year, right? I think that's probably got a lot of people scattered trying to find something else for work, and they're leaving town. So you were a real estate investor, you held properties, and all of a sudden vacancies would have been increasing. What was that like?
Well, and in addition to all that, Steve, you're right. The recession, like the subprime mortgage meltdown, absolutely affected Canada. We had our own like massive real estate investment slowdown. So like, yeah, it was like a perfect storm. And it was tough. It was really tough. We fought to hang on to a dying and eventually dead real estate portfolio for 4 years. And I didn't know it was going to last that long. I don't think anybody did. A lesson, if like I could go back and do 1 or 2 things differently. One thing that I would have done differently for sure is I had bought 6 properties from this great realtor. Her name's Pam Gill, and we had successfully flipped those properties like in less than a month for anywhere from $300,000 to $700,000 in profit. So we were like feeling real smart. This is like 2006, 2007. So we're like, let's buy more because we're geniuses. And bought 5 more bad buildings in bad areas, and I didn't buy them through Pam. Pam found out I bought these buildings, and she said, Julie, I can help you out and go back to the sellers and have them buy them back. You're going to lose your down payment, but they'll buy them back for the debt that you have on them. And it's like I bought them all with a credit card, which is not a good idea, ever. And I wish I would have taken her up on that. It would have saved me a lot of pain. When that was happening, I was pregnant with my 4th when everything started to really crumble. And then I got pregnant with my 5th very soon after. So it's tough to go through, your financial world crumbling all around you with 5 little kids. And they are what saved me from, probably some really self-destructive habits. You got to stay alive for the kids. So that's one thing that helped me through, for sure. The other thing is my husband and I, we went through some challenges with a partner I have 3 things, actually. We went through some real challenges with a business partner, and this business partner had been his best friend for 20 years. So he knew our business partner longer than he knew me.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this women's intuition that something wasn't right when it came to him. And there were just a lot of things that, communications broke down. I was absolutely part of it, but I was just like, Jeff, you got to have a talk with him because I think this is going on. And he was in denial about that for a while because he's his friend, right? So I've really got to acknowledge my husband for, he was so courageous to just come out. I was on the deck having my 3rd glass of wine, talking about self-destructive habits.
Mm-hmm.
He came out and he said, I think you're right, and we have to do something. And that was really, really hard. And if a couple can come together in challenging times like that, it really creates a bond that, I think has lasted us through these last 45 years. So I'm very grateful for that. And sometimes it takes courage, courage and humility to admit when there's a big problem and just try to face it head on. And it's easier to face it head on with multiple people, like an army. For me and him, it was an army of 2, fighting for our lives for 4 years and trying to make sure we kept a roof over our heads for us and our 5 kids. But that was really, really important. So I encourage couples, if you're working together, do what you can to support each other and believe in each other. And sometimes you're going to have to suck it up and admit that there's a problem and do your best to move forward. Anybody can, and anybody can. I know anybody can because we did. And then the 3rd thing that I really learned in that tough time, I talked about this on another podcast, the REITE podcast. We had some investors, a handful of them, and these were hardworking Alberta folks that trusted us with their money. And as hard as we fought for 4 years, we just felt like we had to do it. Like we had to carry it on our shoulders and save everything. And we ended up failing. And what I would have liked to go back and do in all that turmoil was really get everybody together, because they were hardworking folks and they cared, find a way for all of us to work together to save this thing. And there was probably a way there. There's probably a better way I could have handled, our ex-partner and everything too. So I'm a big believer in doing whatever you can to work with folks, because chances are there's a way out of a tricky situation. Whereabouts are you? You're in Ontario, right?
Oh, ma'am, I live in Abbotsford, British Columbia.
Oh, golly.
We're in the same time zone here.
We're in the same time. I don't know where I got that. My apologies. I don't know how things are down there, but I've talked to a couple of Ontario investors. And I've heard it's kind of a war zone over there right now.
Yeah, well, that's it, eh? I mean, if you think about those lessons you learned and look at where the market cycle's going right now, how much of what you remember from that could be applied to your investing strategies today and or your communication and management with your investors today?
That's it. Communication is, hey, this is going sideways. Heads up. I'm going to do the best I can to communicate with you. And I'm going to come at you maybe with 10 different plans to make this thing work.
There you go.
I'm going to do everything that I can to save this. I'm going to do everything that I can. And then you just, sometimes there's no way, like I'll give you an example of something that would be really tricky, I think. And that would be like a pre-sale condo that's not built yet. And if somebody's offered to buy it for $800,000 and now it can't even be finished, like, what do you do with that? I don't even know what you would do with that. But if you've got a property that is a house, like on a lot, even a condo, if it's got financing on it, eventually it's going to get paid off. Maybe there have to be a bunch of cash calls, but eventually it's going to get paid off. It's 25-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage. So there's usually a way for people to put their heads together, put their resources together, hunker down and ride out the storm.
Because it is a cycle, right? I mean, it's eventually going to change. You just need to be patient through the
Well, there are still, what is it, 500,000 people coming into Canada every year, and most of them are coming into Ontario. The rest of them are coming in through where you are.
And or Alberta.
Well, they're coming to Alberta too. But they're coming more to where you are and Ontario. Overall, yeah, is my understanding. Yeah, people are flooding to Alberta, and that's great. And that creates its own set of problems.
Yeah, it does.
I know, because we were in this rising market in Alberta. It's so much fun when you have property. It could be, and there can be some challenges that go with that too. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So how are things down in Abbotsford?
Kind of stagnant. There's homes in certain levels that are selling, but if you get into the upper price range, nothing's moved for a while.
And what's upper price range in your world?
$1 million homes are selling, 1.3 are not.
Okay, yeah.
But that's in Abbotsford. In Vancouver, that's nothing, right? So it's I think that $1.3 million home in Vancouver is probably a BC box.
Yeah, right. A baby boomer bungalow is what my friend Brendan called it in Edmonton. So yeah, it's like sometimes you need, I seriously, that 4-year battle, I learned so much. It sucked. It was awful, but I learned so much about financing. We were on plan G.12A by the time we, surrendered to bankruptcy and foreclosure.
Yeah.
We tried, like we went down swinging big time. And if you can, there's always a way to do that. But
you decided to get back on your horse, right? And I think this is really interesting. I think, was it Babe Ruth who once said, it's hard to beat a person who never gives up. So you're clearly that person who never gives up, right? Yeah. It's well, real estate's a bug. It's a hard thing to shake. Plus I'm unemployable. As is my husband. So we're a couple of weirdos. And what's interesting, and this is a good thing with people that are struggling right now, either with a stagnant market or a falling market, that you'll find creative ways to get things done when things are difficult. If you really want it badly enough. And real estate can create like life-changing wealth. It just can't. So when you're going through these challenges, if you can just be like, okay, we went over that hurdle. What did I learn? What ended up happening for me is I went through hell and back. And then
got to Kelowna. It was a great place to heal, by the way, if you've been through major real estate investment trauma. It's just a lovely place.
Yeah.
This place was dead. And I was very open about my struggles and my bankruptcy and my challenges with a lot of people. I talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my buddies calls me up and he said, "Hey, I got a friend in Kelowna and she's not returning my phone calls. And I'm missing payments and I got to find her. I got to fix this situation." And so this girl, her name was Lisa, and I was in Lisa's shoes. I had just been in Lisa's shoes. And he's like, I was like, "Give me your number." And I just left her this voicemail. "Listen, I'm Julie, and Richie gave me your number. I just want to talk to you. I'm in Kelowna. Give me a call. I think I can help you." Right. And there was something about my voice that made her call me back. And what it is when you've been through struggle, then you can help people who are struggling. So since then, like, we helped Lisa, we took the property off her hands. And then, I was able to talk to another lady. She was about to go into $30,000 bankruptcy. And I'm like, "Listen, let me tell you about my $4.2 million bankruptcy. Do you still think you need to file for bankruptcy?"
Right,
And she's
right.
like, "No, I think I'm going to be okay." And
It's a
so,
big price to pay, right? I mean, I think you're frozen for 7 years, right?
oh, you're frozen for 7 years plus after that.
But,
I mean, yeah, it took us a long time. It took
yeah.
us a long time. So, to recover. And, yeah, but it ended up being a real gift because, we've been able to help people avoid foreclosure, bankruptcy, take property off of the hand that they were just tired of, and that's just because we've been through tough stuff. So if you're going through hell, I did this podcast with Glenn Sutherland. He's the Canadian investing in the US. And yeah, he titled the podcast, "If You're Going Through Hell, Keep On Going." Because
Keep on going. It's easier to carry on forward than to turn around.
well, yeah, anybody that, I'm sure you've been through plenty of challenges, and it makes you tougher, it makes you smarter, and it makes you do things differently. So, those lessons from 2008 were
Right.
painful, and also I consider it a blessing for the people I've been able to help since.
Well, thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. One of the other challenges that I can only imagine you must go through is the art of raising 5 children and at the same time being a real estate investor. Because I mean, real estate can be a full-time job really easily.
Yeah.
And put 5 children in the mix. You must be putting them all to work in order to succeed. They got to be part of the solution.
All they did was just chores all day and
All day.
gardening and farming. No. A benefit to having so many is they entertain each other.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I am also very blessed. I have so many unfair advantages. I'm married to a terrific man, an amazing salesman, and a can-do kind of guy. I was raised by a real estate investor. We were lucky to be investing in Alberta when we were, it's like these unfair advantages. Another unfair advantage that I do have is that I got pregnant easily. I had healthy pregnancies, and I had healthy, happy, easy babies.
There you go.
Like, these people, they all came out smiling. My last one, my number 5, was more work than the rest of the 4 put together.
Wow.
He's a fireball.
Yeah.
He's going to be president of the world. This kid. And I also got help. I had a nanny for a year and a half. That helped a lot through some of the early real challenging times. And I had some help from family, and I did put them in like play school here and there. And yeah, I'd have to get a lot done in the time that I had them briefly with other people. And your kids only want to be with you. So, and at the same time, real estate can be full-time, but it's not usually. Usually it's like full-time when you've got a fire to put out. like, we're putting a bunch of effort into this house in Edmonton, upper suite. And it's taken a bunch of our time for the past 4 days, but then it's going to be cleaned up, painted nice, rented out to an equity building tenant. It's going to sleep for a while.
Yeah.
And then you're not full time anymore. So it kind of does, like, for me, it does work, but I definitely had help, and I definitely have been like lucky in some ways.
What's your preferred strategy in real estate investing? How do you go to it? Is you BRRRR or you what type of properties do you own and
Yeah.
strategies do you employ?
Well, we do a lot of property development. So we like to buy property with good houses on them that can become bigger, that can become more property.
Okay.
And so we're just changing paper basically and getting approval for increased density. That's what we're specializing in right now. What my top recommendation for anybody starting out is wholesaling. And it's not everybody's cup of tea, but it is the lowest risk way to get going in real estate investing is wholesaling. You can learn, you can get a deal under contract, you can sell it and make money, or you can let the contract die because you can't figure out a way to sell it. And, you know, it's no skin off your nose. Maybe it's some time, and you're definitely going to learn, but it's like, I don't really recommend people jump right into land development, but God bless anybody that does. Yeah. Like, hope it goes super well for you. I just think the best, the least risky way to get started is through wholesaling.
Good advice. I was just in Edmonton and had a look at a lot of those land developments and properties that have a future potential for an eightplex where a single family home stands and stuff like that. So there's a lot of land development happening.
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to live out that way, and it's been quite a while. But 20 years have gone by, and I go back there, and I don't recognize so much of the city. It's amazing.
Now, where were you? Where did you live?
I lived in Bonaccord, and then and then briefly in Millwoods.
Yeah, we bought our first property was Millwoods.
All right.
Yeah, 34th Avenue and 13th Street.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, you're involved in coaching as well, I understand.
Yes.
So coaching takes you're taking on a leadership role. You're working to inspire others to do their best. And in real estate investing, that usually aligns with them achieving their goals, right? So I'm interested in your strategy and approach to coaching. And then who are your clients? You mentioned international, so I'm interested. Where are they from, and how do they find you, and how do you feel your experience helps to guide them to building their success plan for your students? It's a long question, I realize.
Yeah. It's like a Jordan Peterson question. He's always got like these 5-pointed questions.
Layers to it.
That's fine. You let me know what I forget. You let me know what I don't answer. I've coached folks in Europe, Australia, California, Texas, and they usually want hands-on help with. Usually it's a particular strategy. I got a lot of people, they like to learn rent to own. And I can do a lot of things because I've done a lot of rent to own. Like this house, my house that I'm in right now, after the whole blow up of 2008, when we came here to start over, we did a rent to own. We rent to owned this house. So I know rent to own very well. And we, part of the way we rebuilt was through rent to own, because we'd buy from motivated sellers, rent to own their house and not have to qualify for financing, not have to put any money down. So a lot of people are very interested in that. I've got a wide variety of folks. I had a lady, her name is Sandy. She was probably my fastest student. And she took this flipping seminar, like a weekend seminar on flipping. And then, at the end of the seminar, they wanted her to buy a $70,000 coaching program. And we'd done a lot. We'd done some flipping too, and I've got Jeff, he's my home hardware guy. And And I'd been coaching, and she said, can you coach me on this flip? I'm like, well, I think I can. And so when people start to work with what I did, said, no, I knew I could, because we had several very successful flips. Like we flipped apartment buildings for massive profit. And so with her, we signed up together, and she just took off like a rocket, and I was able to keep up with her. And, you know, she put deals in front of me. We looked at them together. We went over the budget together. We kept on track with the budget together. Lots of inspections. It was property right here in Kelowna. Her husband did the work. He had the work done in 6 weeks. We had it listed in 7 weeks. She had a cash offer in 8 weeks. And this is where coaching can be very, very valuable. She's this amazing woman, and things went very, very well in this project so far. Now, she gets this cash offer, and she called me, and she said, I've got a cash offer. I said, for how much? And it was $5,000 below list price. She was gonna do well. She's gonna do very well. Cash offer, closing in 10 days, 10 business days. Like,
Hello.
That's a dream, right? That's a real estate investor's dream, but it's $5,000 off list price. She said, yeah, but I talked to my dad, and he said, Sandy, 5,000 is a lot of money. I think you should maybe wait. And she said, that's what my dad thinks. What do you think? And I'm like, sell it, sign it. You haven't signed it? Get out. That is the best.
Because time is money, right? You know,
Time
the
is
longer
money.
you keep it, you're going to be losing. So
What you're going to hold out for another, you know, and the market was a little bit starting to, you know, you can kind of feel it in the air when things start to kind of stay on market a little bit longer. She had this incredible opportunity. And this is where coaching can come in really valuable, because I knew from the bottom of my soul, take it, sign it, sell it. This is what you hired me for, right? Yeah, she did awesome. And
cool.
so the way I coach, just, I don't know if you are interested in, but I'm performance-based. So I get a retainer up front, but I don't get paid in full unless somebody gets a deal.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Right.
It keeps me accountable, keeps them interested. And so far it's been working. So I teach people how to raise money. I love teaching people how to raise money, because it is just, it's a great way to expand what you're doing or get started. And it's also a great way to help somebody else, you know, grow their money in real estate. So many people want that, but they're not willing to like watch one of your great podcasts or reach out, have a conversation with me, or go to a networking event or learn a skill. You know what I mean? So it's a real, it's a blessing for everybody if you know how to raise money well. Yeah, and you know, one lady out of Ottawa, so fun. I met her through a podcast. And so I meet usually these coaching people either through a referral from like a friend that knows my story. Like I told you about Richie, and he sent me Lisa. Sandy was in a networking event that I was part of, and we talked. I hosted the event actually, and you just learn so much, but then it's like the $70,000 price tag. And it's like, if she'd have done that deal and paid $70,000 for the program, she would have had to do 3 deals just like that, just to pay for the program. You know what I mean?
Just to get flush.
It's just like, hey, charge what you want, coaches. I do what I do. So this other lady, I was on a, it wasn't a podcast, but it was like a presentation where I presented on how to find deals. And she reached out to me, and her name's Carol, and she lives in Ottawa. And she's like, I've been studying real estate for 5 years. I've been part of this group, and I've taken this training, I've taken this training, I've taken this course. I just think I just need somebody to hold my hand, right? And I was like, well, here's my online course. Start there. As soon as you're done with module 1, schedule with me. So module 1 has all this stuff on looking at properties, what to look for, what to look out for. and how to bring up real estate. This is the key, how to bring up real estate the street smart way so that you don't sound like a greasy car salesman. You're not a car salesman, Steve, are you?
No, I'm not actually. You're
Okay, I
fortunate
just
enough.
want to make sure. I don't want to insult
Not
anybody.
greasy either.
I can tell you're not greasy. So she goes through module 1, and she pays special attention to this bringing up real estate the street smart way, because you got to change the way you talk. You want to let everybody know that you're doing real estate now. Gets together with her daughter the next day for coffee, like they do every week. What's going on? It's adult daughter. What's going on, Mom? Oh, or sorry, what's going on, sweetheart? This is Carol talking to her daughter. Oh, it's raining. I've got work. My boss is being an idiot. Things like that. What have you been up to, Mom? And she takes a deep breath and she goes, I just started a real estate investment training course. You probably think I'm crazy. That's one of the bringing up real estate the street smart way. Like, you probably think I'm crazy, right? And some people would say, yeah, you are crazy. That's insane. I can't believe you're doing that. But her daughter says, Mom, we were just at Ethan's house, Ethan's aunt's house. Ethan is her boyfriend. Her aunt has to move, but she refuses to hire a realtor because they want her to paint the walls and change the carpeting and upgrade the kitchen. And she's already got her next house picked out. She's already got a down payment on it. We want to buy it, but we know that we can't. So Carol buys the house for her daughter and her boyfriend. And they do a rent to own back to her. And she was scared to death. It's like, okay, you already got to buy it. You already have a renter. Let's do this, And there were these times where she had a mortgage broker that was in Alberta and she's in Ottawa and the lender's in Vancouver. And, she had these moments of panic, like, Julie, help. And I'm just like, okay, this is what you got to do.
I'm all choked up.
What?
I'm all choked up.
Yeah, Julie, I'm crying. I need your help. And there were moments where she was just like, I can't believe this mortgage broker isn't phoning me back. I can't. Dan, his name is Dan. Can't believe he's not phoning me back. And I'm like, well, I know he's on Vancouver Island. It's a bit of a time change. He's probably just in meetings, and that was just the case. And those are just kind of things you don't think of, and all the kinds of things can come up. But we worked on filling out the contract together. I helped her. We worked together to find a good lawyer to do the transaction. I was, it was like, okay, the mortgage broker's asking for this. What do I do? And I just, helped her along with that. And it was so awesome because she just needed a hand on her first real estate deal.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
It's fun.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I need to ask you
if
you can tell us what is your why?
My kids.
This is yeah, okay. This is I think an important thing for all real estate investors, maybe all people, they just don't know it yet. You got to figure out where you're going and what your goals are and what success looks like. You've had an amazing journey to get to where you are now. Where are you going?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I've raised my kids. I've got two at home and 3. My daughter's going to university. I have 2 out living on their own, and a daughter moving to North Vancouver to go to university next year, play volleyball. She was valedictorian of her high school. I always have to mention that, okay?
Congratulations.
Class of 2024, 600 kids, valedictorian. She's an absolute superstar. And so I'm going to have 2 teenage boys at home, and one of them's 17, the other one's 16. So they don't need me at all, right? So part of what I want is to have to have the continued freedom to be able to see them and travel to them and spend time with my grandkids when they come along. And I've also got this, when you're not, at least for me, and I think a lot of women especially can identify with this, it just feels so good to help people. And I almost get a maternal feeling for the folks that that want to work with me, or they need help with something, or they just, they just want to meet with me for an hour and pick my brain. And I know you're not supposed to let anybody pick your brain, but sometimes people do, and I'm fine with that.
I think I might have been doing that.
No, this is wonderful. It does not feel like that at all. And you know what? It's so good to go through what I did and be able to help people, And so I really hope to help a lot of people. I'm kind of expanding in online communities so I could be with more people in farther away places. I have a home networking group that, that's in the Okanagan, which is fantastic community, but I'd really like to expand the reach, and I really hope that it helps people thrive and know that they can do
Got
it.
an amazing story. You really do. You're a very nurturing, wonderful, wonderfully giving person. I can tell that just talking with you now. I think you've contributed to this industry, and you certainly helped me today. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And it's my pleasure. It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. And so thank you. Thank you seriously for having me. This is fun.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to get in touch with you,
Yes.
how should they do that?
Well, I'm going to give you my link, and what it is it's just a great way to get started. It's one of my free tools, and it's a calculator, and it'll get people into my email list, and that's a great way to keep in touch. So I'll give that link to, it's a free tool that people can use, and then they can ask for, I got a lot of free stuff. So that's one way. And the other way is I have a booking link, is the same way you and I connected, and I can get that to you. It's streetsmartdiva.com/book, or just Google me. I hope I'm on the internet.
You're out there.
I better be. And you can find me through Facebook. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and whenever I Google myself, I show up. So, and hey, find me through Steve. If you don't already know Steve, get to know Steve. Maybe you'll be podcast number 10.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's been a real pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.